Man, that's so cool. Like being a dad, I'm like, it gets me in the feels, you know, like
all
my
the,
daughter's
all
like,
the, all the
oh,
time, dude. Like,
yeah, it's
like
cool.
legit, like, and the oldest yours is what, two? You have two, right? They're almost,
Yeah, my girl's only 14 months. My son is almost 2.5. So
yeah. So yeah, you're getting like, yeah, I remember all those months, and yeah, it was
yeah,
so
it's crazy.
when they
Yeah,
start talking and stuff, and like one from like my kid was like, "Daddy," and like my knees just buckle. I'm like, oh,
oh,
oh hey, oh my god, like she's got me like whipped. It's not even funny at all. If I had a boy,
yeah,
I'm like, honestly, I'm glad I didn't have a boy. I'm serious. Like my buddy's kid, he's like, I can like it's funny because I watch him because he's got a girl, he's got like old little daughter's like 4, and then little boy's like same age as your daughter. And you could see the difference of man, like he's a little like testosterone ball. You can see the testosterone already, and he's like, man, just fucking just boom running around like, holy jeez. And my daughter was like, she's active, like she's very active because she got a lot of me in her, but she's like, you tell the difference between a little boy and a little girl. A little boy is like a little like little Tasmanian devil, legit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's funny, man. Like my son, he's like even with my mum, like he won't be gentle. You know what I mean? Like he'll be like, oh, give Nanny a hug, and he'll just go in. Like he'll just like
ah,
doesn't care if he hits his head on her, like hurts himself. He'll
yeah,
just go.
yeah,
But at the same time, I feel like he's actually got a really soft nature because I feel
yeah,
like I'm more soft as a person. Like I'm
yeah,
always like, you know, like sort of loving dad, always want to see every moment, all that sort of stuff. And
yeah,
he's got and just very sort of like a caring nature, and he's exactly the same way. So he'll still have
yeah,
that aggression, but like I'll be like, you know, cuddle daddy, and he'll give me a cuddle. I'm like, I love you, and he'll be like, I
yeah,
love you, like just sort of like that sort of
yeah,
stuff. And he'll pick his sister, like I'm like, oh, your sister's sad, and you know she fell over, and or whatever. I'm like, give her a cuddle, we give her a cuddle, and give her a kiss, and I'm like, that's just that
yeah,
sort of stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I've got like a million photos of me trying to get photos of them like cuddling and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. But
yeah, man,
it,
that's
it's
cool.
it hits different, man. Like if I didn't have kids now and I saw your daughter then, I'd be like, oh, she's cute, that sort of
Yeah,
thing. But now I'm like, oh, those moments. I'm like, it's so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
Changes your
yeah.
perspective, hey?
I mean, like, like the biggest reason why I stopped really doing any kind of gear was like really her, to be honest. Like my biggest motivation, just because like just as all the shit's been going on in the IFBB with like deaths and whatnot, and my scare this year, like about to compete and getting sick, and it had nothing to do with steroids. It had everything to do with the fact that my body was in a position to not fight anything. Like
Yeah.
I was in the best condition I've ever been in my life. I sucked down to like getting to 212. I would have dominated the stage. I don't give a flying fuck. No one had a goddamn chance if I would have won the stage. That sickness did a favor for them because I would have ate them alive because I was sucking in.
Obviously, by far your best ever. Then.
Well, it's because like here's the thing: when it comes to 212, the reason why like as soon as like when me and Flex are close, so I know Flex, and I remember watching Flex just dominate that class, and I'm like, Flex dominates that class because I know Flex has a hard time eating, number one, but like he's a big dude, so when he dies down, he's squeezing every little bit of muscle into that class. There should be a 225 class in the IFBB, right, or 220 class, perfect, right, but he's gonna suck in the class. So guys like him who don't lose size when they get in that class, they fucking dominate because they're full of shit still. When he left, when he retired based from that class, Lunsford should have already been winning since he was the heir 100%, and I knew that for a fact, but he never come in shape. I'm like, as soon as he comes in shape, because to get in shape for that class, I experienced it. You got to suck down to get in that class. And if you can hold your size, you fucking dominate. Guy like Zane sucks down in that class, but he doesn't get he doesn't hold size as much. So he gets kind of looked over because he doesn't have that same, illusion of still looking massive. He's a bigger
He's like an
guy.
inch too tall.
He's the same height as me.
Oh, really?
We're both the same height. Dude, I'm 5'7" and a bit. Like I'm not a short, whatever, but I
Yeah.
hold my size still. Right.
Yeah.
We're different. Like that's where our physiques are different. So when
I
I
was going to
got,
say you look like thicker. He looks a bit more
yeah,
like he comes in shredded. Don't get me wrong. He's
very, he's,
amazing, but
yeah.
he looks
So
He looks taller almost, you know?
Yeah, yeah. When he shrinks in, he loses. He needs to carb up a lot to get his size back. And me and Zane are really close. So when I did this class, I was like sitting there, I'm like, this is why. I'm like, I'm not saying easily dominate, because you can't easily dominate because you have to fucking suck down and diet, and that's just not fucking easy. But for the guy that has that size and shape, like Lunsford, when Lunsford came out, I was like, game over. Sorry, Clara. Like, you're a really good bodybuilder and you're fucking absolutely phenomenal, but you're still $180. Like,
not even that. He's currently 178 of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, guys in two, people understand, guys in 212, unless they're like a Lunsford or like a myself or like a, Flex or whatever, a majority of them are not sucking down in that class. And the ones who aren't sucking down, who get in shape, win the class.
Yeah. And apparently Lunsford in 2020, he came in, it was like 10 pounds under the weight limit. And he looked enormous in his off season. So he was obviously sucking down too hard. And whether it was not taking enough stuff, whether it was just pushing his body too far down and then just flattening the muscle, because his legs disappeared in 2020.
Yeah. And
then last year, they still weren't, I don't think, as big as they can be, but this year, sorry. But they were still big enough, you know what I mean? You look at the leg difference and it's absolutely insane.
What was I going to say?
Lunsford 212.
No,
Flex.
I got distracted looking at this.
What were you looking at?
It's coming up. Lunsford. I was looking at his can you see that? There you go.
Yeah,
I was looking at his page. I was like, the guy's massive.
Yeah, like, he's got so much muscle across that upper body, and his back shots are nuts.
He's just so big. Like, I can actually go on. We probably go into see NPC News online.
His back double bicep, it's one of the best in the IFB, honestly. Like, it was even good in 2020. But it just was so much better in 21.
He's always had a good physique. He says, like, if you come in shape, you win. Like, literally.
It was so funny because in 2020, his glutes were inside out peeled. So it's like he lost no muscle off his glutes. But the rest of his physique, especially from the front through his chest and shoulders and whatnot, just looked so soft. It looked like a guy guest posing, and his glutes were inside out. So it was like,
where's the Olympia? It was Olympia. There we go. I'm going over here. What the heck? Why is this like? Look how complicated this is. You see this?
Yeah, I just hit Command F and then type in Olympia.
What? Command F?
Yeah, and it comes up with a find thing, and you should be able to type in Olympia, and then it will just take you to that bit. Did it come up?
Like on this page?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, type in Olympia.
Olympia. Oh, Command. That's what it does. That's Apple stuff. Right? That's only on a Mac, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, they've got it on PC, but it's not the same on Windows. It's different command, I think.
Like, why the hell is it? Jesus Christ!
If you click the little next thing where the Olympia is, then it will take you down to the next one.
Like this?
Yeah, should work anyway.
You're a genius, bro. This is how you know the age difference. I'm trying for like 20...
like.
There you go.
I listened. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, their contest gallery is a little confusing.
Oh,
but I gotta say, man, like, I appreciate whoever tags these photos, because I remember I used to do it because I used to run RX Muscle Australia, so I'd take photos. Or my ex-partner would take photos, and I'd take them all and tag them in all these amateur contests in Australia. It was pretty popular. Like, people really enjoyed that. But man, going through all the competitors, matching out their numbers with the names,
insane work.
It would take forever, man. Like, I would just stay up and it was mindless work too, and I just keep doing it for hours and hours. And it was like,
that's insane.
Yeah, dedication to the task.
That's why you got to get like that's why you got to hire an editor, do your shit for you. Come on, internet, hurry up.
Yeah, we do need to get one. If there's any editors out there,
there's a lot of any editors out there looking to get a really good channel here. Desktop.
Actually, there is one guy but I just remembered reached out to me on Instagram a while ago. So I might have to hit him up as well. So
take him. Why is this? Why is my internet? I think everyone's internet sucks.
Yeah, it's weird. My internet actually sucks at the moment where I'm living.
Well,
So I'm actually living in an Airbnb. So that's how I found the place I'm living in now, because it's sort of a last minute thing.
really?
Needed somewhere quick. And rent, man, the housing market in Australia at the moment is insane. It's like I was trying to find rentals. This was about maybe 6 to 9 months back, and you'd show up to like a rental inspection at a certain time, and there'd be like 20, 30 people there, and they get like 10, 15 applications for a house, and it's just so hard to actually get into a house here at the moment, and the prices have gone up like 25% too, which doesn't help.
I think it's the same, like a lot of the same everywhere, even here. Like ours
Is it?
are like skyrocket. Like you can, like our house, we can sell a house and get really good money on our house, but then we were like trying to find somewhere to live.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, yeah, sweet. What do you want to buy that we can't afford anymore because we sold our house for double the price? We
You
can't.
could always try, like, I mean, if you try to predict it, you could always sell high and then rent for like a year or two, but then you're playing that risk as well. Plus, you got to pay rent. So,
yeah, who's this? Okay, this is, what is this? I'm looking at, this is, what class is this? What color I mean? Man, there's so many. These guys just mad take pictures. This is not, these are comparisons still. I'm on page 4 with compare, and they're just still doing like the comparisons, not even like the first call out.
do you find it funny how sometimes you see like these photographers that take photos of these websites? Sometimes there'll be like 8 photos in a row. It's the same back double bicep.
Yeah,
That drives me insane. It's like, just take 2 of it.
they're just taking the fast and then like upload.
Yeah, because it's frustrating. Because sometimes like you go through one call out, but you're going through like 60 photos.
Yo, this is annoying. I'm just trying to find one thing. Let me see, Derek. So my top first call out. Let's just go here instead.
The 212s.
Yeah, are they in 212s? I was look, check this out. I'm gonna talk to whoever runs this site. Like, yo, let's just make this way less complicated. So here's your class. All right, cool. Here's your comparisons. All right. Let's say comparisons. Now there's a gazillion photos here that I don't like. This is just comparisons. Like, we don't look at like, where is the first, second call out? This is definitely not.
Yeah.
Watch.
Because a lot of times for competitors at the start, so you have to get like maybe like to page 5, depending if they have prejudging and finals. That might be like the first call out. Yeah, around here somewhere.
I went to 212 and it went to. There you go. Okay, so I'm just going to page 3. And
hey, you know how Angel Calderon and obviously, what's his name? It's escaping me now. Sean Clarita, how they qualified for the open class. If you were either of those guys, would you consider doing the open class?
If you can place high enough, yeah, because the money's way better.
Like, do you think that Sean Clarita or Angel could?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think Sean could get,
they beat, look, like Sean beat what? Regan and
Sergio.
And Sergio? Sergio not at his best and Regan not no. Like,
yeah.
Like, here's the thing, like, does Lunsford have a better physique than Regan?
Then who? Sorry, you just cut out for a second.
Regan. Does Lunsford have a better physique than Regan?
I think he'd beat Regan, yeah.
No, Derek Lunsford.
Yeah, he'd beat Regan.
Did he? Derek Lunsford beat Regan? When did Derek Lunsford beat Regan?
I mean he would. Like, if Sean Clarita beat Regan.
But like, no, but like, so let's say Olympia coming up. I mean, the Arnold's coming up. Regan right now at his best. You think Lunsford could beat Regan?
If Lunsford was full blown, yeah.
Like, Lunsford at his best right now and Regan at his best.
Honestly, like, if it's going to the Arnold Classic and Lunsford's like he's doing the open, like he can fill up to whatever weight he wants to be with Harney coaching him for another, like, X amount of time. I think that Lunsford could beat Regan. I don't think it's a guarantee, but like from the back, I think that's sort of Regan's strength. But I think that Derek Lunsford still beats Regan from the back.
Let's grab. Okay, so let's grab a okay, hands overhead. I'm pretty sure we can find Regan. Regan's definitely gonna have. You know what? We could probably Instagram Regan. I mean, Google him because the guy's the man.
It's funny. Regan, obviously, like his pre-contest shots, I think look maybe a little bit more favorable over his on-stage shots. but he still, like, honestly, he improved a lot. Like, he got a lot better this year. I was impressed.
He's still getting. I've known Regan forever. Like we were chatting last week. Me and him are really cool, and he's like still trying to catch his stride. Like where he can go in growth, I think he's gonna do with Milos. To be honest, I honestly like. I was a skeptic in a sense, but I just saw him last week, and just from seeing, I saw him the summertime and I saw him last week, and from the summer to the last week, the difference is Milos and rebounding from a competition. He looks like big, like full, and like like quality full, and I think he's gonna be able to hold his size. He loses like he's so full before shows, and then he'll lose his size because I think he gets dieted down too much or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's flattening out or what it is, but with Reagan, I think it's one of the things with his physique. There's certain areas which lead him in other areas. Like you got like his hamstrings, which he gets the cable hamstrings. Like he, and then other areas like in frontal bicep, his arms don't look quite as crisp. But overall, man, like I love his physique. I think that he's
look at this,
so much potential.
Look at this guy.
Like with more years in the gym, he's going to get harder and he's got more of that crispness to his physique and with more muscle as well. And we saw that in some of those last shows. Like Milos obviously filled him up and depleted him hard to get that little bit extra conditioning, and then just filled him up probably pretty aggressively. Obviously with the Milos protocols and stuff, and it worked for Reagan. So I think that if Reagan does come in full with that extra muscle and more years in, then I think that it's going to obviously bode well for Reagan. And what do you think? Do you think that Reagan could be like, just say a top 5 guy, in the next, or just top 5 guy in the next 2 years?
And like he has the potential, to. The thing is like I hate saying it, but what it's going to require for him to get there. Like if you look at it, like people really understand like size, like they're guys who've won, who are top placing athletes. Like Nick Walker, right? Top 5 Olympia. Okay. And Hattie Chopin. There's a huge size difference between them that you don't really see, from like these pictures and stuff. You know what I mean? So like,
do you mean who's bigger than who?
Like Hattie's way smaller than Nick. Like way.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought you meant the other way around for a second.
Like,
I was like,
way smaller. So when it comes to like, does size really matter in a sense? Like not necessarily more than your overall illusion look. So if we can create the illusion to bring something like this, you know what I mean? Like it conditioned on stage, that's lights out.
Yeah. If Reagan can get,
because he's got a pretty ass physique.
Yeah. If Reagan could be harder than he was, like even just a little bit harder than he was in any of his shows this year, which he was pretty damn conditioned, like his most conditioned ever. Like here he looks good. Like real good.
Yeah. So this
that looks awesome.
This is the one he won, right?
Egypt. Was that him or Samson? That was Samson, wasn't it?
Regardless.
Yeah.
He needs to get bigger here.
Yeah.
And here. You know what I mean? Like, and let's see like the side. Like that's like he looks like this is better. This is like awesome. Like, because you can tell how much he's pushing it here in his physique, because you can tell like his core, how much food he's probably got in him that is just the right amount, because you can tell he's not bloating at all. But like that is, he little wash out here, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like just a bit, like he needs to get a little crisper through that chest region on the side chest. And he needs like almost like, I want to see that like hang from his chest, the lower chest sort of hanging over the abs. And I think if that's sort of the one part of his physique, the back looks great.
This never okay. So Regan, I don't know what it is. His hamstrings always from an amateur. I remember because I've competed with him like since 2014, 15.
Yeah.
This never gets crisp. This is in weeks in advance. His glutes never get super duper crisp. They are from like his side chest. They look like right here when he's squeezing his glutes. Like that should be, you know what I mean? Like
that's the hardest they've been though, surely. I reckon.
On certain people. For me, they're on early.
Yeah.
Like for me, so when I look at like my leanness, I don't look at my glutes as being a telltale sign if I'm getting lean. I look at my lower back and my hamstrings. If my hamstrings are freaking like inside out, then I know I'm fucking, then I'm super peeled. If they're not,
Yeah.
my glutes, like, because some people can have like, I got glutes showing right now, and I know I'm not that lean, and I'm not on anything, right? So
Yeah.
like guys like him, like, he's just a little bit like, I think he needs, like, honestly, if he can get a mat like 10 pounds, between 5 to 7 pounds of quality mass, I think that's enough. And then conditioning for him to be like a top guy. Because he's, like I said, he's pretty.
And it sounds like a huge amount of weight, but like where he needs to put the weight on
Where
is
he
like
needs it. Like,
he needs more on the legs, which is weighs a lot. You know what I mean?
well,
To
what
make
is
him
it?
look
Pick
bigger.
up a 5 pound dumbbell. Like, put that on meat every, like, places. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's a lot of muscle. And like, but you can't expect him to put on 20 pounds at this time of his career after using for so long. But like,
But
if
obviously,
he
like,
can, if he can bring this but peeled, that's lights out.
yeah, that's insane. His back is really good.
It's
Like his hamstrings
ridiculous.
look great. It's the harder he gets and the bigger he
He
gets, the
loses
better it's
it.
going to do. And
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna I don't think he's gonna come in out of condition with Milos. I don't think he's gonna come
No.
in particularly small either. So Milos, obviously, what he does, everyone knows Milos loves like the insulin protocols and all that sort of stuff. But I know that he
Yeah.
must have been doing that for a good portion of it after those contests because Milos was doing zero carbs with him for a bit too. So, but he did say he had days where he filled him up and stuff. So
Wherever,
I think those were the days where he filled up.
whatever it is, like, I agree. It's like, totally, like, whatever Milos is gonna do, if he can, replicate his protocol with Regan, I could see Regan, doing well. He's doing the Arnold. Like, Regan's reason why I like Regan. Regan's like a, I don't even know if we're gonna talk about Regan, but like Regan, I've known Regan for years. I remember asking him because his Instagram was going like bonkers, and he was we're all competing for nationals one year, and he went and did the Arnold amateur, and we were gonna do that show. We all decided not to. We're gonna do the Arnold first, and then I was like, I'll do the Arnold amateur, and I was like, fuck, I'll do nationals, and he had won the pro card there. But he was doing like videos after videos after videos. The guy is a businessman, like, stupid business attitude, business mindset. He started, like, those boom watches.
Nah,
There was these boom watches from a long time ago. They're all different colors. That was his thing, and he
are they
sold
those
that.
chunky ones?
Yeah, and he sold that to someone else. And like, I remember like, yo, man, how much should I post on Instagram? He's like, I post like 2 times a day. I'm like, is that a lot of posting? Won't people get annoyed? He's like, no, man, the people want to watch you won't get annoyed. I'm like, oh, dude, you're smart as fuck. And like, he's built this, like, he made himself. He's self-made, 100%. Like, it's funny. It's awesome. You know what I mean?
People discredit it too. They think, oh, he's just a guy, like, he's just got that like Instagram physique or whatever. He's an Instagram bodybuilder. It's like, nah, he built a brand and he branded himself.
If he's so not smart. Yeah, if he's not wearing GAT or, here you go, GAT. You know what I mean? Obviously, apart from the Jordans, then he's wearing his own gear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's smart. It's, you know what I'm saying? Man. Like, he's super smart, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this year, I think with a guy like Milos, because he hasn't had a guy like Milos, he had Chris Aceto. And honestly, I know a lot of guys that have Chris Aceto, and a lot of the guys who have Chris Aceto get coached by other guys while they're with Chris Aceto. Yes. Sorry, I'm not gonna say names, but like, that's a fucking fact. I know plenty of guys who get coached by Chris Aceto who are getting coached by somebody else while they're getting coached by Chris Aceto.
That's interesting, yeah. Because right? I've always liked Chris. I've always gone on well with him and stuff. Not always talked that much, but just I've gone on RX Muscle a little bit and whatnot. And it's funny. I've had even a friend of mine worked with Chris Aceto. A few friends of mine actually worked with Chris Aceto in Australia, and the good thing I do like about him is that he does pay attention to detail, even with amateurs. Like, he'll be very on to people that are competing. He's like photos every day, all that sort of stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Not taken away from him at all as a coach. It's just like, that's what, like, honestly, that's the biggest. There's a lot of things I've been guilty of it. But a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of pros are coached by a certain coach, and then they're getting coached by someone else behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And but that's why I'm saying for like Regan, him being with like being down there, like, he's not like, difference between like, why I like guys like Milos because they're nutrition, coaching, and posing. You know what I mean? They're everything. And that's when you have more control over the athlete in that aspect, you get better results, right?
Oh yeah,
It's like
Milos is so much more hands-on,
he
obviously.
way more hands-on. So like for like Milos is a guy like myself, like who I would like, I don't aspire to be Milos, but if I was gonna have, like I treat my athletes like Milos does. Like I'll go, then a couple of my athletes who just went to nationals this past weekend, they'll come up and train with me for 2-3 days. You know what I mean? I'll put them through whatever. We'll go do posing as well too, and we're obviously have nutrition and supplementation and whatnot under my watch, right? And there's way more I get out of the athletes from that than coaching someone who's getting posing from this person, they're training from that person. It's not. So that's what like he had with Chris. Chris was doing his supplementation, his diet, and then he was probably getting coached by someone else, like when it comes to training. But I think he does training too. But when it comes to training stuff, like being with your coach, like when I got to train with Neil, and Neil did my training, my coaching, my posing, that's one of the times I was at my best. Same with Greg. He was doing my coaching. We'd pose together, and then my nutrition. When I was with Matt, I had that, but posing wasn't as much and training wasn't as hands-on either. Right.
Yeah.
So him being able to be down with him and being able to be like, I could talk to Reagan, like he's staying with Milos in Cali until the fucking Olympia. I mean, till the Arnold. That's like,
is he in Vegas?
No, he's in Vegas. Sorry, he's in Vegas in California. He's doing both. So
yeah.
you know what I mean. So he's there with your coach Milos, and that guy forever. He's the only guy I know who can make diet food look good. So here's my chicken, my chicken, 30 grams, 300 grams of chicken, and 250 grams of cream of rice, and it's a plain cream of rice. You're like, damn, it looks fucking delicious. Like that looks good. And I'm like, it's just
the way he makes it.
Trifecta. I'm like, whatever, but that he'll live that life. But his life is set up for that too. Like he's got the money to. Like he's making passive income in Canada and all from his business still while he's off being a bodybuilder.
Who would have full-time jobs can't just like ship their life down to Vegas like that.
Yeah,
like obviously he did.
And he's been doing that since he started. He was doing the same thing when he was in who's training with Psycho. He was training with Psycho Fitness back in the day, right? Psycho did his training. Cito did his diet and nutrition. I mean, diet and supplementation, right?
Yeah. And it's funny, you mentioned like about obviously like, the coach doing the training and all that sort of stuff. And I totally agree. Like sometimes I've had clients where they're like, oh, they've got like a trainer in the gym, which I wasn't doing. I was just doing the coaching and posing pretty much. And they're like, oh, coach has put me through this sort of thing. I'm like, well, I want to do this with your diet, which I would recommend, maybe like if I'm say putting on someone on higher fats or something, I'm saying, maybe go, lower rep range or something, because you're going to gas out. And they're like, oh, no, coach is doing this. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, it doesn't really work,
Yeah, disconnect, like for sure, especially training. Like when it comes to training, and I learned a lot from Chris Cormier, and like when in terms of like programming someone's training based on their flaws in their poses. So like if you're doing a back double bicep, right? And I'm like, okay, you're shallow in your rhomboids and your delts, your teres major minor, your lats, those are good. Your lower lat insertions are a little weak. So I know what I'm going to be doing more often. I'm going to be doing a lot more rows. I'm going to overemphasize rows than I am going to, pull downs or any vertical movements. But if I have like a guy who's like, this is where you're shallow and like, oh yeah, we're doing this plan. I'm like, but I need you to do fucking this. You know what I mean? Like, so that's when it comes to coaching, like I have to do everything. I don't want to do, if they want one or the other, like if I just want training or just want supplementation or just want whatever, it's a one-time plan. It's like, I'm not coaching you just on that.
Yeah.
It's a headache. It sucks. And then on top of that, having like coaching bodybuilders who are just like prima donnas at the wazoo. Fuck that, man.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Like I definitely go through stages where I get over the coaching side of things, and I don't even do that much of it, honestly. But I sort of go, okay, when I can get into full-time YouTube, maybe like I can pick and choose like who I work with and stuff, like
that's what I've been getting. So I've been getting more of that now, which is cool. Like, cause the more you put out the people, like no one's going to hire me that wants to fuck the dog. They know I'm gonna tell you like it is, and I'm gonna expect you to fucking work hard because I'm gonna put my all. So and you put that out more, then yeah, you get to choose. But I remember getting like, I'll get what I can get. Bring them all, and I'll take you. And you coach him, it's like, oh, why was this money worth it? Like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
20
I've had
messages.
have you ever had someone like cry to you, like about the diet or about not getting results or something like that?
Yeah, like yes and no. So I have a lot of athletes who are very open with me, but I like the ones who complain, like it's talking like a complaining client who's like, when the diet sucks, whatever. Like have I had any of those?
No, I mean I mean literally crying, like tears.
Oh, about the diet being hard? Like, no.
Just about like not getting results, and like I had a
that's
female client that cried literally, and this was a consult in the gym, and I'm sitting there, I don't know what to do. I'm sitting across the table from her, and she's with her partner, and she's crying, and she's like, "Oh, it's so hard," and I can't remember, and why didn't I drop anything this week? And she's just bawling, and this is like there's other people around, and I'm like, "What's my role here? Do I just look at her? Do I look away?"
Were you her coach?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, man. I think she was cheating on a diet, man. To be honest, it was. I got to get bloods done. I got all this other stuff done. I'm like, there's no way.
I get it, man. Those are hard because like you can't call someone a liar. You know what I mean? They can't be like, because I've had people complain. Like I don't like if someone came and cried to me, it'll be different. Like I'll be empathetic and whatever, but still, cry or not, like I've had people complain like, my results aren't there, and looking to kind of pull the it's my fault kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just revisit our goals. Like, have you been 100% on your diet? Well, I mean, and I'm like, okay, right, you know what I mean?
It makes it near impossible to make adjustments too, because unless they're writing down exactly where they messed up and it's only a little bit, then it makes it so hard. I'm like, well, I can't change your plan this week. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm changing it off guessing. Yeah.
I'll just like if they're like, here's a goal. Like if they're supposed to be losing body fat and we're gaining muscle, whatever. Like every week, I don't give a fuck. If the goal is losing fat, we need to be losing, pounds on the scale. Like at least for the first bit, like 100%. If the scale's not moving anywhere, you're not like any different than anybody else. There's nothing wrong with you. You're cheating on your diet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like I kind of revisit every week, and if you check in, and like for the most part now, like before, I get people just trying to. I had a girl, literally, I'm not gonna say her name, but I called her out, and she was cheating on her diet and like on Snapchat doing it. And I'm like, and she's like, and she's competing, right? And she's like, I'm not getting my goals. Like, oh my God, like you don't really pay attention to me and like the diet, whatever. And I'm just like, yo, you're cheating on your diet. No, I'm not. You call me a liar. I'm like, you're on Snapchat. It's still like, this is literally when it's still like up and available for everyone to see. I'm like, there's a picture of you taking, your Snapchat of the food and then actually eating it. And I'm like, and it was dessert. I'm like, you don't have dessert 6 weeks out on your plan. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was just so frustrating. And then she ended up quitting on her own. And she does like, she's a coach hopper. She'll hop the next coach. The next coach. I had another coach, another client that was complaining to me about their diet. I remember walking in on them at the gym, and they had a Nuts and More peanut butter container next to the Smith machine that was open with a fucking spoon in it.
While they're training?
While they're training. I shit you not. And I'm like, yo, what's up? I don't remember Nuts and More being on your diet. And she's like, oh yeah, I was feeling kind of like tired today. Like, I wanted, I'm like, that's not on your plan. And like, no, like Nuts and More is like Nuts and More. It's like, it's candy. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's so weird. That is like one of the strangest things.
Yeah.
I even find it weird, like people like taking like random cans of drinks into the gym. I find that strange because I feel like there's no lid on them and stuff. And that freaks me out. But yeah, like, I don't know. That's having peanut butter is like next level. Like, I don't know. That's like serious, like period cravings or something.
Yeah. I mean, like, got people in there that are allergic to shit too. Like, I shit you not no word of a lie. That was one of the most absurd things that ever happened to me as a coach. And I was just like,